Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
We're diving into some source material you sent our way, specifically an article by Don Freeman. It's called The High Cost of Network Marketing.
Right, and we're really focusing in on one part, the hidden impact of selling to friends and family.
Yeah, that section.
So our mission today really is to get to the heart of what Freeman observed, what he argues in this piece.
Hmm.
We want to kind of pull out his core perspective and, highlight the key takeaways about these multi-level marketing structures.
Especially how they operate when it comes to, well, relationships.
Exactly.
And the article kicks off with a scenario that I think many of us might find familiar.
Oh, yeah.
You get that unexpected message, maybe from someone you haven't heard from in ages.
Right, the blast from the past message.
Totally. Starts off casual, hey, how you been? But then pretty quickly it pivots.
Uh-huh, to the pitch.
Yes, a pitch for some life-changing opportunity. Could be a product, a business, joining their team,
Yeah, sounds very familiar.
doesn't it?
Now, what makes Don Freeman's view here so interesting, and he really emphasizes this, is that it's not theoretical.
Right.
It comes from direct personal observation. He actually worked for over 7 years as an assistant to the founder and president of an MLM company.
Wow, 7 years back in the early 80s, right?
Early 80s, yeah. So he had, like he says, a real front row seat. He was in those high-level meetings, strategy sessions, saw the internal stuff you just don't see from outside.
And from that vantage point, what did he actually see?
Well, he describes observing a structure and a kind of behavior that felt very much like a pyramid scheme.
Even if it wasn't officially called that.
Exactly. He talks about rapid recruiting and how income seemed way more tied to signing up new people below you.
Building that downline.
Yes, that downline structure, more about that than, actual customers really wanting the product.
And heavily reliant on tapping into personal networks first.
Right, your friends, your family.
Right.
And he highlights this contrast too between the public messaging and the reality behind the scenes. It was pretty stark.
Oh, wait. Someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Don Freeman. I just wanted to jump in case you have any questions, and also thank you for taking time to review my article. Much appreciated.
Oh, wow, Don, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you listening.
Absolutely, Don. We were just highlighting how your perspective, coming from direct experience, really shines through in the article.
Yes, that firsthand account from inside an MLM in the early days gives such valuable context. We really appreciate you sharing it.
We were just about to dig into the contrast you observed between the outward promises and the internal realities of that structure.
So, with you here, if anything we'll discuss sparks a further thought or clarification from your side, please feel absolutely free to jump in.
We're all ears. And again, thank you for writing such a thought-provoking piece. It's given us a lot to unpack.
Well, continuing our discussion, Don, we were noting how the public message was often about financial freedom and an amazing lifestyle.
The kind of promises that sound really appealing on the surface.
Right, but you saw a different engine driving things internally, didn't you?
How so?
Well, outwardly, the message was all about, financial freedom, flexible lifestyle, build your dream.
The usual promises.
Right, and they had these big recognition events he mentions, describes them almost like spiritual revivals.
Yeah. Very high energy, I imagine.
Totally, very emotional, lots of focus on inspiration, belief. But internally, he notes the real push was less about supporting people and more about pushing product.
Ah.
And new recruits, often with zero sales experience, they were really pushed to go all in, like right away.
And start with friends and family.
Exactly. That was the first step.
So financially, he saw millions coming in every month.
Yeah, millions pouring in. But he makes it really clear that for people further down the structure, it got harder and harder to earn any real money.
Okay.
The big bonuses, the significant money, he saw it going mostly to that small group at the top.
The early birds.
The early joiners, yeah, the ones with the huge teams already built out.
He shares that memory about inventory, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful detail, seeing these absolutely massive inventory orders arriving.
But not because customers were demanding it.
No, not at all. It was people buying the product themselves, just loading up.
Why? Just to hit the next level.
Exactly, to reach a specific purchase volume needed to get the next title or qualify for the next bonus tier in the company's plan.
Wow. Buying just to rank up?
That really reveals something about the system's incentives, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's focused inward, not outward on real sales.
Right. Internal consumption, stocking up, and Don mentions briefly what happened eventually.
To that company he worked for.
Yeah. Lawsuits started popping up, growth kind of stalled out, and then it was quietly acquired. He frames that whole experience as this powerful early lesson for him.
Which was?
That even people with good intentions can get caught up in systems that, maybe by their very design, cause harm.
Especially when trust.
Yeah, especially when trust and those personal relationships are used explicitly as tools for profit.
And this pattern he saw, the article clearly identifies it with multi-level marketing or network marketing structures.
Correct. That fundamental model relies on independent sellers who don't just sell products.
But crucially, they have to recruit other people.
Right, to become sellers who then also sell and recruit. And the article points out, in this model,
Those closest to you, friends and family, become the first targets. That's a direct quote.
yeah, and the source lists several companies now defunct or, significantly changed as examples.
Like Vema, Wake Up Now.
Burn Lounge, Fortune High Tech Marketing, Liberty League International, plus LuLaRoe, which it notes is inactive after lawsuits.
So recurring theme here.
Definitely. While a small percentage might earn something, these models often heavily favor the top few, or the early joiners with big networks.
Leaving most people with what? Unsold inventory and broken promises?
That's the picture painted, yeah. Unmet promises, often.
Now, the author does include what he calls a note on balance, which, feels important to mention.
It is. He does state that not all MLMs are inherently bad. Some, he says, have legitimate products, maybe fair compensation plans.
Okay, so there's some nuance there.
A little, yes. But, and this is the critical caveat, really central to his whole argument,
Here it comes.
right? He stresses that many MLMs do rely heavily on pressure tactics, those emotional appeals about the dream, and crucially, compensation plans where the real money, the significant income, comes from recruiting new people.
Not primarily from selling products to actual retail customers.
Exactly. And he backs this up with that widely cited statistic. It's attributed to Dr. John M. Taylor in a report for the FTC.
The Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. Consumer Protection Agency.
Right. Finding that over 99% of people who participate in MLMs actually lose money.
Over 99%. That's just staggering.
It is. And often that's after investing in starter kits, training, maybe those bulk orders we talked about.
And the article makes a point about interpreting that stat, right? It's not saying participants aren't trying hard.
No, absolutely not. It's not presented as a judgment on their effort or talent. It's more about recognizing that the system itself.
The structure.
The structure is often built in a way that statistically benefits a tiny few at the expense, the significant financial expense, of the vast majority below them.
Which then leads right into what the article calls the hidden cost.
Yes, and Don argues this emotional impact, this hidden cost, can be just as damaging, maybe even more so, than the financial loss.
Okay, what does that look like?
He details things like conversations with friends, with family. They start feeling less like real connection.
And more like transactions.
Exactly. Like you're always waiting for the pitch or feeling obligated to buy something.
Yeah, that can get uncomfortable fast.
And you might see friends or family start to, pull away, create distance.
Ouch.
Plus, your own confidence can take a hit when the success and the money you were promised just don't show up despite all the effort you're putting in.
That makes sense. If your main method requires turning relationships into sales leads, the relationships themselves are going to change, fundamentally.
Precisely. That's his core argument on the emotional cost. When trust, built over years, is strategically used as a sales tool,
Relationships suffer.
they inevitably suffer. And when your income depends on constantly recruiting, constantly bringing new people in, instead of delivering real value through product sales,
That's the warning sign.
that's his signal to pause, to really reconsider what you're involved in.
But the article doesn't just leave it there on a critical note. It offers a different path.
Right, a better path, build your own section.
Yeah, framed as an empowering alternative for anyone who knows they're good at sales or marketing or just building something.
His belief really comes through here. You don't need to buy into someone else's dream, someone else's system.
You can build your own.
You absolutely can build something entirely your own. And he lists several specific ways.
Okay, like what?
Things like affiliate marketing earning commission, promoting products you actually like and believe in.
And importantly, without having to recruit others.
Key difference, yeah. No recruiting involved. Then there's e-commerce or dropshipping selling online, often without handling inventory yourself.
Okay,
Leveraging your own skills through freelancing or consulting. If you have expertise, sell that.
makes sense.
Creating digital products, online courses, it's teaching what you know. That has potential for passive income too.
Right.
Starting a print-on-demand or merch store, build a brand with pretty low risk upfronts.
Interesting.
And finally, building a platform podcasting like this, blogging, video content, and then monetizing your voice, your content.
So lots of alternatives where you're in control.
Exactly. Building something truly independent.
So, okay, pulling all this together from Don Freeman's article, what does it mean for you, our listener?
Well, I think this deep dive gives you insights, right, into recognizing certain patterns and business models.
Especially those relying heavily on personal networks and recruitment.
Yeah, it helps empower you to maybe identify systems that, despite all the positive talk, could lead to financial loss, emotional costs.
Straining those important relationships.
Definitely. And it highlights that there are so many other ways to build something successful.
Ways that might align better with your own values and actually respect the people in your life.
And the source leaves us with this final, powerful thought to kind of muddle over.
What's that?
A real opportunity, one that's genuinely good and sustainable. It's going to respect your time, your values, and, crucially, the people you care about most.
That feels important. Because as the article concludes, man, this line really sticks with you.
Yeah.
No bonus is worth burning bridges,
Wow. Yeah, that says a lot.
doesn't it?
And Don himself kind of invites reflection on this.
Right.
So building on this deep dive into his perspective, we'd encourage you, reflect on maybe your own experiences.
Have you pitched something like this? Been pitched?
Yeah, sharing those stories, those perspectives, it can genuinely help other people make more informed choices down the road.
Definitely worth thinking about. Well, Don, thank you again for your article and for listening to.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great job reviewing the article. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great afternoon.
Oh, you're very welcome. We really appreciate you tuning in and for the kind words.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. We're glad you enjoyed our discussion on the article.
We hope it gave you some food for thought.
And we appreciate you being a part of our conversation today.
Absolutely. Thanks again, and you have a great afternoon as well.
Until next time, take care.
That wraps up our deep dive for today. We hope you found it insightful.
We always appreciate you joining us and being such a wonderful listener.
Have a great rest of your day.
And we'll catch you on the next one.